This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It is Thursday, so it's basically the start of the weekend. And, man, there's a big baseball game in town tonight between Monterey and Lubbock Cooper. It'll be at Texas Tech, Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. We'll have it for you on the radio at 7 o'clock tonight. It's game one of a playoff series between those two teams tonight. So that should be fun. Hopefully it'll be good weather tonight at Rip Griffin Park. We'll have it for you on 100.7 The Score at 7. That series will continue tomorrow night with game two between those two teams, also at Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. And if necessary, game 3 is Saturday. And again, all three games on 100.7 The Score. That'll be an interesting one, Jamie. A couple of crosstown teams that I'm sure there's some rivalry and some matchups and kids that know each other from, whether it's travel ball or just around the neighborhood. So that should be a lot of fun tonight, I would think.
Yeah, I completely agree. That should be a lot of fun for both communities. And like you said, I think it's always fun that way when, guys on both sides know the other team and have played with them and, are friends and all that good stuff. So should make for a great atmosphere.
This is Region 1 5A quarterfinal action that will take place. And then tomorrow we'll have the Liberty-Idalou game at 6 o'clock on 93.1 Texas FM. That game will come to us from the Friendship Baseball Complex. And then game 2 will be Saturday at high noon, also on Texas FM. That's 93.1 FM. And then if game 3 is necessary, then that will follow about 30 minutes or so after game 2 on Saturday. So, man, that Liberty High School, Jamie, though it's already won a golf state championship. I mean, the paint's barely dry, and they've got a state championship trophy in their newly made trophy box. And now
last time I was there for basketball season, they hadn't even finished all the painting.
Okay, and I don't think the football stadium's done yet, and now their baseball teams in the quarterfinals in Region 1 3A. They'll take on that Idalou team, and that'll be at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And again, those games will be on 93.1 Texas FM.
Yeah, obviously, Cooper ISD has been putting together, terrific athletic teams for quite a while now, sure. Right? So that's really nothing new. I mean, obviously, they broke into a new school, and for a lot of them, or all of them, I guess, it's just it's underclassmen. So that's really the impressive part of it. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there's talented athletes coming from Cooper, there's really no surprise. They've done a great job with that in recent years and been a really productive athletics department. Yeah,
no question. It's just, I guess, when you look at it from a golf standpoint, like you said, they're all underclassmen and they won the state championship. And golf is an individual sport, but you're talking about baseball and it's a team sport. And probably a lot of these kids have been playing together, so they're just wearing a new uniform. But still, I mean, again, it's year one for this high school, and I would say it's hard to say that you could have gotten off to a better start, with your baseball team. So, anyway, congrats.
Yeah, no, again, it's impressive.
Congrats to them, and we'll see what happens. New Home will be in the Region 1 2A quarterfinals. That will start today at 4 o'clock. They'll play at Friendship, and they'll take on Sundown. So that's game 1. And then game 2, Jamie, this is kind of interesting, is tonight, 30 minutes after game 1. So there's not much time to regroup and go, okay, here's what went well, and scouting report and all that kind of stuff. And then game 3, if necessary, would be tomorrow at 2 o'clock. All right, so that's the new home action for this week. So And then Ropes will take on Clarendon, and those games will be at Plainview starting today at 4 o'clock. Okay, so there's a little rundown for you on some other schools that are in our area. 6:20 this morning here on the Morning Drive. All right, so Texas Tech is obviously playing a non-conference Big 12 baseball this week, but there are, and this is the final week of the regular season. Jamie, who needs to have a good Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the Big 12 as far as the NCAA tournament is concerned? You've got Oklahoma playing Cincinnati. They won the Big 12. You got BYU playing at K-State. West Virginia playing at TCU. UCF playing at Baylor. Both those teams basically kind of moving on. And then Oklahoma State and Houston playing in Houston. And then Texas plays host to Kansas.
Okay, so I feel very confident that the top four are in, in Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas, and West Virginia. I still feel like the teams in the middle there from Cincinnati to Kansas State, include Kansas and TCU in that group, have a shot. UCF still has a shot, So include all 5 of those schools, all right? So that's up to 9. I'm not telling you that I think 9 are going to get in, but I'm telling you those are 5 teams that I still think have a shot. Or those last 5 still have a shot. So I think Oklahoma State needs to have a big weekend because they're trying to get a host spot. Okay, same thing goes for Oklahoma. I wouldn't, if I were them, I wouldn't expect that either one of them would want to drop the series and feel like, hey, we still are guaranteed ourselves a spot as a regional host. So I think both of those two teams have a shot at that. So that's a different reason of why they need to play well. The rest of them, I mean, I think Texas is in, but I don't think they're hosting. I think West Virginia's in. I don't think they're hosting. But those other 5 have to feel like, hey, if we play really, really well, then we're going to improve our chances of making the postseason. So like for K-State, I mean, they're playing BYU and they're playing at home. You'd have to feel pretty good about their chances of winning at least 2 ball games, right? Yeah, but I mean, there's no guarantee that's going to put them in. But yeah, absolutely. Kansas State has to go in this weekend. They really can't afford a loss to a BYU team at home. So Kansas State has to. I mean, if they're getting in, you would think they have to sweep this weekend. And then for TCU, they get to play at home. They play West Virginia, and they're probably in the same boat of having to win at least 2 out of 3. And they're probably pleased to be playing West Virginia because that can give them some RPI points. Mm-hmm. And then I guess for Kansas playing at Texas, that's probably of the schools that are trying to make a case for themselves. That's the hardest place maybe for them to be in. But yeah, and I would almost say Kansas might be the least likely to make the tournament, just because their non-conference is not that impressive.
And then for Oklahoma State playing at Houston, you would, if you're Oklahoma State and you're going to play on the road, that's probably the most ideal place to play, right? Is that Houston?
Yeah, or BYU.
Or BYU. Yeah, either or. So, and Oklahoma's going to play at Cincinnati, and I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like there in Cincinnati. But I'll say this, when I was there with women's hoops this winter, I mean, it's all right there. I mean, you got baseball, you got the arena, you got the football stadium, you got soccer fields, you got the camp. I mean, it's all right there. So you're going to get some people that are just going to be looky-loos that go, oh, hey, wait, they're playing baseball. Let's go check this out. But it feels like that stadium is a bit of a bandbox. It feels like it's really, really small and compacted and jammed in there. It's probably one of those things that's bigger than it looks when you get in there, but just from the road, it kind of looks like anybody could hit a home run there. But we all know it's harder than it looks, right?
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Sports history. Today is May the 16th, 2024. Here's Jeff McGuire.
There's more buttons I got to push when Jamie's on location. 1941 is where we will start. First USA radio performance of Robert Russell Bennett's Symphony in D for the Dodgers. It's one of the songs they play at their stadium all the time.
Okay.
1953, Philadelphia Phillies' Curt Simmons gives up a leadoff single. He would then retire the next 27 in a row in a 3-0 win over the Braves at County Stadium in Milwaukee. So he loses the no-hitter and the perfecto on the first batter, but would have had it otherwise. 1957, New York Yankees players, including Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Hank Bauer, are all involved in a brawl at the Copacabana nightclub while watching Sammy Davis Jr. perform. It would lead to a Billy Martin trade.
At the Copacabana.
Jamie, I need to email you this script because it says wait for Chuck to sing. 1981, Houston shortstop Craig Reynolds hits 3 triples as the Astros beat the Cubs 6-1. 1985, Michael Jordan is named the NBA Rookie of the Year. 1996, something happens for the first time in Chicago Cubs history. 2 home runs in 1 inning. Cubs have been playing baseball a very long time.
Wow.
Anybody want to guess who it was that did it?
1996. No, I'm out.
Sammy
Sosa.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes the most sense.
And in 2021, the number 7 Texas Tech baseball team continued its home barrage at L. Dale Mitchell Park with 5 long balls on Sunday to run rule Oklahoma 13-2 in 7 innings for a series victory against the Sooners. Jace Young, Cole Stillwell, and Braxton Fulford all went yard as part of a 6-run second inning. Easton Morrell and Cal Conley hit dingers 2 innings later as part of a 5-run fourth. I think
use some of those guys.
Let's see. Yes. Yeah, I think we could use all of those guys, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
I think all 3 of us are out on this. Chuck may be in, but I think he's out as well. Happy International Pickle Day.
I love the pickle. I'm a big fan of the pickle. I mean, I can't sometimes get enough pickles, especially the hamburger dill pickles. I like the spear. I like the little ones. There's unless it's a tricked up pickle, I'm pretty good with the pickle.
It's 1 letter too many.
There's some horse
Pickles
names for you. Tricked up pickle.
Happy birthday, Rangers play-by-play voice Eric Nadel turned 73 today. Megan Fox, 38. Pierce Brosnan, 71. Danny Trejo is 80. Tori Spelling, 51. John Sally, 60. Gardner Minshew, 28. Thurman Thomas, 58. Jack Morris, 69. And Gabrielle Sabatini is 54.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And on this day, 1929, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences hands out its first awards at a dinner party for around 250 people in the Blossom Room of the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California. The brainchild of Louis B. Mayer, head of the powerful MGM Film Studio, the Academy was organized in May of 27 as a nonprofit organization dedicated to the advancement and improvement of the film industry. Its first president and the host of the May 29 ceremony was actor Douglas Fairbanks. And unlike today, however, winners of the very first Oscars, as the coveted gold-plated statuettes would later be known, were announced before the award ceremony itself. And that is this day in sports history.
All right, that means it's time for a lucky local winning word. We do it every day during the week at this time, 8:45 and 4:45 when available. Go to doublet97.3.com, enter this word for your chance to win weekly cash prizes like today and then again on Tuesday. The more times you enter, the more chances you'll have to win. This is a local contest, not a national one, so the money is given away to folks right here in Lubbock, Texas, USA. We're going to give away $2,500 at Two Docs on Thursday. June the 20th. Today is May the 16th. It's Thursday. The 645 word at 651 is Spartans. Spartans, Spartans, Spartans. Okay? So go to doublet97.3.com, enter that in, and you could win from Double T 97.3 in the home zone, making your house a home. I don't think we did this the other day. I feel like we missed this the other day, given that you talked about Dodger music that was performed. Did we mention on May the 14th, which would have been, Tuesday, that was the first performance by John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever?
I didn't. I saw it, but I think we did something else on that day.
Yeah.
Something else happened on May 14th that I was like, as cool as John Philip Sousa is, this needs to be mentioned.
That's like of all the marches out there, that's the one that you want to hear the most. This particular day, May 14th, 1897, at Willow Grove Park outside of Philadelphia, the march was introduced at the event to celebrate the unveiling of a George Washington statue, and President William McKinley was in attendance. This is before he was assassinated. The march was an immediate hit, and some called
Not
for
afterwards?
Not afterwards, no. Lying in state. Thank you. You're paying attention. The march was an immediate hit, and some called for it to replace the Star-Spangled Banner as the national anthem. In 1987, the Stars and Stripes Forever became the official national march of these United States of America. How about that?
We did the Jamestown settlers arriving in 1607 on Tuesday.
Oh, man. Okay. I mean, you're the editor, so I'll defer to you. But man, the John Philip Sousa, dun 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 dun, that's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Let's see. This might be an unpopular opinion, but bread and butter pickles suck. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Jordan. I'm kind of with you on that. Somebody says, with regard to the Astro who got suspended, he will miss one start. They have a 6-man rotation. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, only one.
Okay, so maybe that's why maybe that's why Major League Baseball went with 10 days so that he'd at least miss one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be more than 5.
Yeah, right. Let's see. This quick question here for Jamie. Will our baseball team be any better next season? I have no idea about the class we signed for next year. That's a tough thing to say right now, right? Or answer?
Yeah, I really have no idea. I mean, past history leads you to believe that this year was a down year and all that good stuff, and that you'll be a good team again. I don't think this coaching staff has forgotten how to coach or recruit or anything like that. I think there's been some missteps, but I also think there's been some terrible luck, and hopefully that would turn in your favor for next year. But I have no guarantees one way or the other. Yeah,
there's no guarantees other than we'll have the games for you next year right here on Double T 97.3. How about that? And we'll have tonight's game at 8, play-by-play at 8:30. They take on Arizona State tonight from Tempe. Tomorrow it's a doubleheader. A rare doubleheader. 2:30, the broadcast time. They'll take on UNLV in Game 1 and Arizona State in Game 2. Game 2, scheduled broadcast time at 8 o'clock, so a little bit of time in between games.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. The Yates Flooring Center chat line is open for you.
Hey, Chuck?
Yeah, Jamie.
Hey, can I go back to a question you just asked me a minute ago about just the guy on the chat line who had said, hadn't really heard much about the recruiting class and all that good stuff.
Sure.
And I've seen along the way more signings for this year's class, upcoming class, and then the next year's as well. So I don't think recruiting is stopping in that regard. But I mean, I guess I want to ask myself the question and ask you the same question. I mean, it's kind of like, I hate saying this, but I feel like college baseball is starting to trend towards, do we really want a great high school class, just like what we have in college basketball? I mean, we saw a kid sign a high school kid for the Red Raider basketball team last week or the week before or whatever, and we were shocked, right?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, well, is that clearly? And I think the words you said were, clearly he must be a project.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, you had a top 15 recruiting class this past season that brought you guys like TJ Pompey and Landon Strickling and Matt Hewer and Parker Hutera, which are really, really talented young players. But I would also tell you that I feel like one of the problems that you had this year, Davis Rivers, another one in there that's helped you this year. One of the problems you've had this year is you've had too many young freshmen playing in key spots, pitching in big spots, starting on the weekends, trying to close out baseball games on the road in Big 12 play. Those things it feels like those young guys have been in key spots where teams that you're playing don't have nearly as many young guys playing in those spots. Because of why? Because they're using the transfer portal way more than they're using high school kids. And so that just goes back to asking yourself the question, do you want the Red Raiders to have a great high school class now? Or are we in baseball, have we moved on to where basketball is, where it's, hey, the majority of your guys, you're just gonna buy in the portal and go that route, is because that's what's best for your team. So I don't know which way to feel for this Tech baseball team moving forward. I don't know if we want, if we're supposed to get excited about high school kids, or if you shouldn't sign that many because you got to save space for doing a lot of work in the portal. But those are questions that I think have to be asked. That's what Tim Tadlock and J. Bob Thomas and the rest of this coaching staff, they're having to ask themselves at this point. And I think that's, as Tech baseball fans, you have to ask yourself, okay, should I be excited when they sign a high school kid, or do I want that spot to be saved for a portal guy that's got a couple years of college experience? I don't really know the answer.
Yeah, this I want it now. I want results today. Society that I think we live in has almost entered every single part of our lives, from the standpoint of, I want to lose weight. Okay, give me a shot so that I can lose 20 pounds by Saturday. I want to win a World Series or a Super Bowl. Okay, so I'm going to turn over my roster. I mean, you talked about it a couple of times this year in terms of just Big 12 teams that Tech has played. UCF, I think, was one. You were shocked at the number of transfers. And then when the Red Raiders played Oklahoma, you're like, we talked about how many they had. Well, they have even more. And there's basically no time for anybody to consider development of a team. Maybe football, you have a little time to develop, but even football, you want to bring in some skill players.
In football, you redshirt guys.
Yeah. So you have a little time to develop, but I think you're onto something there. That basically you don't have time to grow your team. You don't have time to, it used to be like general managers of baseball teams would say, well, we don't want to trade the nucleus of our team. Well, now the nucleus of your team changes every year, and it's somewhat frustrating because it's hard to grow old with any team, whether it's college or professional, and now it's even trickled down to Division I college baseball for the Red Raiders, where you go, you got all these high school kids, but what are they going to do? What are they going to do for me right now? Well, sometimes it's just not there right now today. But nobody wants to be patient. It's like,
So, and that's kind of what you were competing against so many times this year, where you would just see teams that were so much more experienced, not teams that were, had signed these guys out of high school and then they were 3 years deep, and it was, a team that, okay, they've been building towards this year. No, it was a team that they picked up in the off season. Yeah. And so you gotta kind of, it feels like, you got to adjust, right? Mm-hmm. You got to start doing the same thing if it's going against you. So you just got to find that right combination, I guess.
Yeah, and that has to be frustrating for coaches. I think basketball probably has been.
I gotta believe that there are certain coaches that love the aspect of bringing a guy in and watching him grow and coaching him up, and seeing a guy work hard and improve and all of those things. And it just has to feel a little bit different now.
Yeah, and I think basketball, we've kind of been used to that, because even 30, 40 years ago, you'd bring in a junior college player, or you'd get a transfer, get a couple guys to kind of help boost you. I mean, not the total fruit basket turnover that we have going on right now, but you were accustomed to a guy transferring in, right? And maybe not as much with football, but usually if you lost somebody in football, they were disgruntled or coaching change or something along those lines. But now it's like, man, it's everywhere. It's like the patience for even waiting for fast food is just, it's we have no patience. We have no patience. But I don't know. I think that's interesting, Jamie, to see how that will affect things kind of moving forward, and how much you do bring in, and then the whole COVID aspect where you've given all these. And I'm fine with the spring sports getting the extra year, but man, some of these basketball guys and even the football guys that got extra years because of COVID, it has really kind of impacted the transfer portal and development of younger players. So somebody says this, I think there has to be a balance of the two. Yeah, there has to be a balance of the two, but I mean,
I would agree.
But everybody is this, I want to win today. I want to win now. Why do we have to wait 2 years? And it's just, not everybody can win, right? Not everybody can win. 7:23 this morning here on the Morning Drive. If you have a thought on that, hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This problem with signing a great baseball class is you have to wait and see who makes it to campus, because the best players get drafted and go pro. Yeah, there's some of that as well too, and certainly the minor leagues and even the major leagues are somewhat littered with guys that had committed to or were thinking about signing or coming to or had signed with Texas Tech and other teams in the Big 12. So there's that. Here's our daily report from the Pepsi Man. I feel like we should get this sponsored. Good morning, guys, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like Willie Nelson says, on the road again. But all I have to say is I believe in my Red Raiders. Have a great day, guys. All right. Pepsi Man, you have a great day, too. And drive safely. Bullfighter says this, because waiting to win in 2 years isn't guaranteed. That's true. But, man, it just feels like that, the days of having somebody from a freshman to a senior are very limited, or it's reserved for really, really special people who just really want to be at a certain school. So that's kind of frustrating, actually.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen. Today's a little bit off the wall.
Oh, excellent.
I happened to be walking around yesterday, and I was thinking, this question popped into my head as, hey, this might be a good question of the day. And then it turned out that Jeff mentioned a birthday today, for this day in sports history and this day in birthdays and all that good stuff. And so I said, you know what? We're just going to go with that question that I had bouncing around in my mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I hope this doesn't just turn into whatever your favorite sport is. You go with that guy.
Okay.
But today is, Jeff said, it's Eric Nadell's birthday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
All right. Okay. So I think the three guys in the Metroplex, and I don't want to, you can include, what's the hockey guy's name? Ralph Strangis, I believe.
I don't know if he still does the games, but he certainly is. I think he does the Stars. Ralph Strangis. Okay. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, Yeah, I've heard him before and think he does an awesome job. But we're just sticking with the other three sports.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chuck Cooperstein is way, way underrated. I think he's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eric Nadel and Brad Sham are both complete studs. Nadel's a Hall of Famer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if professional sports was like college sports, whereas you go to a college town and a lot of times the same guy who does football does basketball and baseball too, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick one to do all of the Metroplex sports, or if you had to pick one, so it's kind of you can answer this any way possible. If you had to pick one play-by-play guy to do all of your team's sports, all of your different teams, which play-by-play guy would you pick?
Of those guys?
Yeah, of those guys,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Because you listing off guys from Kansas City.
Oh yeah,
nobody,
no, I know that. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just want to make sure those guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: we had a chance, and I don't know if you guys remember. I'm sure you do. We had a chance to hear Brad Sham doing baseball for the Rangers, and it just never sounded right to me. It was almost like eating fried chicken for breakfast. So, as much as I love Brad Sham on basketball and on football, I just think I'd have to rule him out on the baseball. Nadel, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. There was something the other day that cracked me up. Jared Sandler was going crazy on something, and then he turned to Nadel, and Nadel very calmly and collectedly said, "Yeah, the Rangers have done that before." So in terms of you're looking for the hype, of a basketball game or a football game, I don't know. Nadel did hockey too, so he's very versatile. And then Chuck Cooperstein, I think Chuck Cooperstein could be good at anything he does. I think he's very. I've never heard him do baseball. I've never heard him do football. I think his baseball. I think he'd be too much for the baseball folks. So even though I said that about Brad Sham and baseball, I love Brad Sham. I think he's just nails. I'll take Brad Sham to do all three: football, baseball, basketball.
I thought Chuck and I were gonna have different answers there for a minute, and then he changed course on me at the very end. Mm-hmm. Kind of roped a dope there. So
I did rope a dope.
I'd listen to Brad Sham read the phone book. I'd also say the same thing about all three of those main guys.
Yeah.
I've never heard their hockey guy, but I don't imagine that he's bad being in the Dallas market. Just out of general rule.
Sure.
But to give some credit where credit is due, Chuck Cooperstein is absolutely underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Nadel is fantastic at baseball. I don't want him calling a football game. I don't know that would work well. One of the things that I like about Brad doing Cowboys games is he's a Cowboy fan, and he says exactly what the Cowboy fan is thinking. And I like my home play-by-play guy doing that. And to some degree, Chuck Cooperstein does that as well. Mm-hmm. So because he's not going to get as much credit as he should, I'm going to go with Cooperstein.
Okay. It's funny because I'm a baseball guy and I love Nadel. I think Nadel would be fine for football, but I just don't think I don't think he'd be good for basketball. Mm-hmm. Okay. Doesn't have the energy and the big excitement and all the above. All the things that I love about him for baseball would kind of keep him, in my opinion, from being a great basketball guy. But you just never know, because guys can change their personalities when they're doing different broadcasts. But I do, like I said before, I think Cooperstein is really, really good. I think one of the things that I like about Cooperstein is he sounds like he's so incredibly prepared.
No doubt. Yeah.
So when there's just so much knowledge in that head of his that it just flows so smoothly. Just really, really impressed by him. But I think having heard Brad do all three, knowing that Brad is a big baseball fan, I think Brad Sham would be the best for all three if you're combining the three of them. But man, I'm sure that in other cities in the world they think the same thing. But man, we have three really good ones in the Metroplex. I mean, really, really good ones. I think we're lucky to have those three guys.
Yeah, somewhat spoiled, and I think even when you look at maybe some of the guys that are doing the games with them, I mean, I love Babe Laufenberg. I think I really enjoy Matt Hicks and enjoy his knowledge, and Jared Sandler. I mean, he's an up and comer. I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to be heard for lots of years. He's always got some little interesting tidbits. There was one he gave yesterday, and I was trying to find it this morning because the Orioles had a leadoff and a walk-off home run. It was by different guys, but he referred to it as like one of the first times since 1983. I couldn't find the tidbit this morning, but at any rate, all those guys were just absolutely fantastic in their craft and what they do. And they're a joy to listen to and carry along with you. 7:40 this morning here on The Morning Drive.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studio this morning. We'll have Red Raider baseball tonight at 8, play-by-play at 8:30 from Tempe as Tech takes on Arizona State. We'll also have high school baseball on the air for you tonight on 100.7 The Score as Lubbock Cooper takes on Monterey over at Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. This is game one of potentially 3 in the area round. I think that's correct. Quarterfinals, I believe. Quarterfinals region 5A1. So the winner advances, loser goes home. And then we'll pick up the Astros and the Phillies, or the Astros and the A's, rather, tonight at 8:30 in progress after Cooper and Monterey. Just a little bit of an update for you, Jamie, of the PGA Championships that are taking place at Valhalla Golf Club there in Louisville, Kentucky. Ludwig Ober, the Texas Tech grad is even through 3. Okay, so he's in the early group. Conditions are kind of wonky this morning. Precipitation in the air, it's 59 degrees. Winds are out of the northwest, 12 miles per hour with gusts up to 24. So not exactly ideal golf conditions for the PGAers. So we'll keep track of Ludwig over the next 4 days. Hopefully he makes the cut and makes a run at it. He's going to win a major. He may not do it as a rookie, but his golf is really, really good. He's got to stay healthy. Sat out last week, had a bit of a knee injury. All right. NFL schedule was released last night, Jamie. We gave you a little taste of it during the boom, boom, boom. Did you have any overall thoughts about the Cowboys schedule and kind of how things turned out for them and kind of where it stood? And is there anything that just really like, I don't like that? I mean, they start on the road, then they have a couple of home games and a couple of road games. So it seems pretty evenly split there up until their bye week, which is after they'll play Detroit on October the 13th. That should be a pretty delicious matchup there in Dallas.
Yeah, and then right on the other side of the bye there, you've got the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So that's a good stretch there. Yeah,
defending NFC champions and a team that had a shot at winning the Super Bowl.
I like the fact that they allow you to play the Commanders and the Giants twice.
You've got...
obviously, I'm being sarcastic.
Sure.
There. I know that they're in your division, but I think it's great. I mean, that should lead you to 4 wins. 2
of their last 4 games are at home. In fact, 3 of their last 5 games are at home. They'll play Cincinnati on Monday night. Then they'll play at Carolina. To play Tampa Bay on the 22nd, at Philadelphia on the 29th, and then at home against Washington. So, I mean, those are some real teams there going down the stretch, and I realize all these teams are real teams. Houston Texans, not so much a patsy anymore as they kind of have been, but they'll face them on a Monday night game. That should be fun. Texans and the Cowboys there in Dallas or in Arlington. It's a 7:15 kick on Monday, November the 18th. So they'll play a Thursday game on September the 26th. They'll play a Monday night game on November the 18th, a Monday night game on December the 9th, and of course they have the Thanksgiving Day game against the New York Giants. So those are kind of your primetime games. The NFL, in releasing this schedule, the other news that came out was the two Christmas games. That Christmas is on a Wednesday this year, and so the NFL they don't care if it's on a Wednesday. It could be on a Tuesday. And they're gonna have games on Christmas Day moving forward. But you'll have Kansas City playing at Pittsburgh. That's a noon kickoff, and then Baltimore at Houston. That's a 3:30 kickoff. Kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised that first game's at noon. Kind of would have expected maybe to have a primetime game for Christmas night, maybe a 3:30 and then a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock kick. That's a little early for the noon kick, because it'll be 11 a.m. kick in Pittsburgh. That seems a little early. So maybe not get to open up the presents there in Pittsburgh. May have to do it after the game. But Netflix is going to broadcast those games. And Jamie, those two games they're going to cost Netflix $75 million each, $150 million to the NFL coffers for those two games, just those two games from Netflix. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of money.
And obviously they feel like it would be worth it.
Yes, right. Netflix has obviously done the economics on it, and based on, I guess, subscriptions and whatever advertising they're able to sell, because they'll be able to sell advertising for it. That can't overcome the $75 million, I don't think. But just people that will sign up because, man, I got to have me some NFL on Christmas. And you've got two really good games: Kansas City at Pittsburgh, and then Baltimore at Houston. That's the 3:30 game. I mean, those are all four of those teams should be in contention for something. At that point. Obviously, with the Chiefs and the defending champions, and then Baltimore played in the AFC Championship game. Pittsburgh's coming back, and Houston feel like it's an up and coming playoff team that could make a deep run. They built that team pretty solid, so it should be two great games. No Christmas Eve games this year. That's still, I guess, a little secret. There is a Monday night game, though, on December the 23rd. And then from an international standpoint, there'll be 5 games this year for the NFL. And those games aren't they're okay. The first game will be Brazil. It'll be the Eagles and the Packers. I guess it's a pretty good game. That'll be in Sao Paulo. The Jets and the Vikings will play in England at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That'll be in London. That'll be in Week 5. The Eagles-Packers game is Week 1. I hate that. Hate their opening weekend is there. The Bears and Jaguars will also play at Tottenham Hotspur. That'll be Week 6 on October the 13th. And then the Jaguars and Patriots will play at Wembley Stadium on October the 20th. And then the Giants and the Panthers will play in Germany on November the 10th. So that'll be in Munich between those two teams. So that's your look at the international games this year.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.